Hello, my name is Orion from TCG FlightSchool. We want to invite you to follow along as myself and my trading partner Jordan learn and apply technical analysis on our journey towards profitability. If you'd like to join in on the discussion and learn technical analysis with us, check out our Facebook group, TCG FlightSchool, for more information and content. We hope you enjoy our daily trade recaps and technical analysis videos. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's get on with the technicals. Hey guys, alright, so I'm going to cover some MJ stocks. A lot of our members and traders and my friends and stuff like that are really following these stocks closely. We're watching some downtrends, we're looking for some short-term bounces, and we're just trying to get some moves out of here and kind of plot where this sector is going leading into the summer here. So obviously we've seen a significant downtrend since February. We've talked about it numerous times with some beautiful little short-term recoveries along the way and some nice opportunities to take some short-term gains. So today I noticed that we ended up bouncing off this kind of crucial support here, 737, which also dates back to this kind of 735 where we put in two tops and then we broke out on the November rush to the upside. So this is a pretty crucial support line that I'm watching right here. You know, I don't really know what would happen if we fall under it. We might get caught up in some of these support and resistance levels down in this area, but for now this is the first time we've seen these levels of 737 from this bounce. Well, I guess this is the second time we've seen this sort of level here since we were over here, you know, upwards of 7 months ago. So really watching it closely. We bounced off of 737. We ended up closing today at 745. Just looking at it on the 5-minute intraday. I've also got my Bollinger Bands up here today, so I'm just trying to work with them a little more and get a little more comfortable with having them on the screen. So bounced off of that 737, and we did put in higher lows off of the 5-minute coming into the close. So usually when we climb into the close, we do see some sort of a gap up the next day. It's nicer when we see a big bull rush into the close. We see a nicer, 10 cent, 15 cent, or whatever sort of gap up the next day, maybe followed by a sell-off. So it'll be interesting to see what this kind of little, it's not big much, it's just a little bit of a move into the upside off of this bounce. The volume really doesn't show that any bullish volume came in towards the end of the day, and the RSI is still kind of sitting in that neutral zone right around the 48s level. So I'm going to watch WEED, always keep my eye on it because it's always kind of been a sector leader. Well, seems to be a sector dragger. In this case, we're really stuck under this 9 EMA and just above this lower Bollinger Band. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll look into Afria next. Similar thing. We did break down under this 528 low, and we ended up putting in a low at 518. And we came back for a little bit of a recovery at the end of the day to 524. And so some lower levels I'll be watching for on Afria are 510 and of course the whole dollar of $5. Notice that the RSI is getting a little bit lower on the daily, but significant downtrend coming off of that April rush, and now we're starting to see some lower supports broken on the way down. Like I said, $5. We'll see that there. Next kind of levels will be in here in this 450 mark, kind of 473, and then we'll see 450, 440, and then down to $4. So that's a Afria. Not looking good if you are going to be a long-term investor, but if you do want to be a long-term investor, I would stay out of your position, maybe stay liquid and look for a lower entry where you can come and catch some more upside when this thing decides to move. It's always been a monster. It's always made big moves. We've seen to the upside. It was a sector leader for so long, but since April we have seen that sell-off, seeing that money leaving the sector and slowing down into this summer trading. So EMH, my favorite as well. Really hard to chart this right now, looking for any upside moves, but what I do notice on this, pulling back from a line off of here and drawing some trend lines, is I'm seeing a bounce off the support here, another bounce off of that big support here on May 11th, and then we've come down here and we've bounced off this trend line again. We had a little upside the other day on earnings, and now we're kind of falling back into this trend line again. So what I'll watch here is we are consolidating tighter and tighter, kind of in an upward pennant formation, but I'm going to look for a little bit more consolidation. Notice these Bollinger Bands are really tightening up, and we're going to look for some sort of breakout to the upside or breakdown to the downside. So some levels to watch here. Obviously we've been putting higher lows in. We had a low of 110. We had a low of 111, and now we're printing a low of 116 on the day. So I would be looking that if it started to break kind of that 110 mark, we would start to see a move to the downside into this kind of 103 region, which we were plotting before on this big dump. So that's kind of what I'm watching for EMH. I don't have any positions in it right now. I will talk about the two positions that I do have. I have one position that is my longer term accumulation position in CHV, Canada House Wellness Group. They're looking for license coming up soon. PUF just received a halt today on trading, and no news yet, but the halt is pending news from the company. So a lot of speculation thinks that it will be the license, and we should see it move similar to CHV. A lot of similar things going on fundamentally wise, and price points are in and around the same, around 10 cents apart from each other. So watching PUF for the upside move to see if we get any sympathy off of CHV, but also waiting for CHV to get its license and make a move. The MJ sector right now is totally catalyst dependent. A lot of the money's moved out of the sector, it seems like. So definitely just going to keep watching for catalysts and try and anticipate where they're going to come in next, and that's going to be mainly off of licenses and acquisitions and any other mergers that we see. So I'm in at 0.215, about 8,000 shares right now, and I will be watching. We've just broken down this kind of 20 level. We've tested it a few times over the last few days and dipped under it into this 0.195. Finally today we've closed at 19, but I do notice these Bollingers are starting to tighten up, so just wondering if it's going to break down to the downside. We did see, we haven't seen a lot of Bollinger action going on, in this stock before. We did see a little bit of tighten up here where we kind of waterfall washed out down to 16 cents, but then we had a quick recovery. So if I see anything happening like this, I will add to the downside to my position with what I have left in my account, which isn't much, but I will add to the downside, and on the upside move I will actually trade those exact shares out and just take some profit on those and keep my original position of 8,000 shares at 0.215. I like doing that. I don't really feel like accumulating to do an average down. I'd rather take some shares, take a little bit of money, make a quick trade on the downside bounce, and then keep my original position, looking for maybe some continuation to the upside, possibly on some license news. So that's where I'm at for CHV. CNV is Canadian Zeolite Corp. I did take a position the other day. We had this big upside move. We had a little bit of a pullback. I got long, I believe, on this day at 66 cents with 1,000 shares, pushed up to a high 72. Hindsight, I probably should have just taken my profits there. It printed this inside candle kind of right in the middle of this big move, so I held through the next day. Don't mind, there's a double candle printing here for some reason for 2 days, but we did end up closing at a low here of 56 cents. So I'm down 10 cents a share right now on 1,000 shares, $100. What I am going to watch for right now, tomorrow, is the break of today's low. If it looks like it's going to break out of today's low, I will exit my position and take my loss. If I see any sort of an upside move, I will also exit my position and take my loss, or maybe break even as well. We are seeing, I was hoping for this to continue on some inside candle consolidation and maybe break out on the next candle to make a new high to the upside, but unfortunately we're doing it to the downside. So these are kind of the support levels, magnet levels that we've been watching, and 48 cents was also a big significant bounce, which was kind of pulled off of this significant top, where we saw some major support before we saw a big breakout to the upside. So mineral company, not MJ, but just a trade that I'm watching. A lot of volume on this day, but now we're seeing some bearish volume, and it is starting to decline. So going to keep an eye on it. The Bollingers don't really make too much on this because we did consolidate, we popped to the upside. But what I am watching here is I did see a moving average divergence, I guess. We pulled the 9 EMA, came over top of the 20, and now we're consolidating here. It does look like it's going to dip under it, and if it does, I will be out. Obviously, moving averages are lagging indicators. Really, I should have exited the move the day I got in and took in my small profits. But again, hindsight's a beautiful thing, so I will stick to my guns and exit my play here, and take my licks and take my loss and move on. So yeah, that's what I got for there. And obviously, if you have any comments or questions, want me to cover anything else, please feel free to comment or like or subscribe to the channel. I'm always open for questions anytime, day or night, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow and trading Thursday and Friday. All right, have a good night.